Welcome to Hidden Squidz Gaming. Alright, I've been chomping at the bit to get this video out. I'm actually pretty far into the Crimson DLC. I had this video recorded about a week and a half ago, but I realized I was narrating the fights too much, and not really actually talking about my impressions on the current DLC, the Crimson Court. So I've decided to redo this audio, which is why this took so long. My thoughts right now: Crimson Court is extremely difficult if you activate it early, and since I didn't look up anything on Google or Wikipedia whatever about Darkest Dungeon, the Crimson Court, I decided to go into the Crimson Court early, and it puts other monsters and stuff in regular dungeons from the get-go, which means I had a lot of individuals with the Crimson Curse early on. Right now, my visual impressions and map impressions: the first map, I was surprised it was a maid dungeon, but at the same time, to kick off a DLC, I think having a non-random dungeon is a great way to do it. So I'm checking out the torch, I'm checking out the blood, I'm checking out the Kyros. They're pretty cool. I have a feeling they're going to function similarly to the Kyros in the regular dungeons, but as you can see, I am screwing up with the items I'm using, but now I know that the bones take the bandages like the regular corpse does in the normal dungeons. I like the enemies in the Crimson Court. They're very like prim and proper, but also, you know, savage-like, because it's got all the blood around their mouth, they got the teeth, and they're kind of bug-like too, because they have the hives, they have the nose, they have the bleed, so it's a very interesting. It's kind of like, I wonder if the producers were thinking like the blood-sucking like aristocrats kind of thing, where they're very high, prim and proper, but they just suck the energy out of everyone else below them. So I wonder if that's what they were going for. This first fight is going fairly easy. I get rid of the manservant right away, and get some nice riposte going on there. I do not expect all fights to obviously only be 2 enemies and this easy. And obviously, since I've played more, I know that it gets extremely harder. The enemy types in this place are extremely aggravating, and I don't really like fighting any of them, in the sense that it's usually a hard fight. They have high speed, pretty high dodge, except for the supplicants. So this is going to be the first fight where I actually get the Crimson Curse, and I'm going to have to start figuring out how I'm going to deal with it. Since this video, I actually have found out at least how to cure it via 2 ways. If you haven't played the Crimson Court up to that point, I won't say it to ruin it for you, but at this time, I had zero idea of how to do it. So as you can see, I'm checking all my items and stuff. I'm trying to figure out like what the curse is, what it does, how fast the D progresses, all that good stuff. And as I played through, I figured that out. The party composition I brought into here will later be a problem, you'll see why. But I like the red, I like the blood, I like the weird hive type blood area. I'm going to skip a lot of the fights because there's a lot of fights in this first dungeon. It's a very long, short dungeon, as silly as that sounds. So there's a lot of walking, a lot of fighting, a very similar unit, so I don't want to show like 30 clips of the same units. I believe the actual time it took me to do this was like 20 to 25 minutes, and I was taking things slow, I was reading, I was looking at the background, so I probably could have finished it faster, but I'm just letting you know.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
I am going to show this little bit part of walking, because I just want to show the general progression that I am now craving the blood within the same dungeon as I got the Crimson Curse. I didn't expect it to go that quickly. But I still don't use the blood yet because I'm not entirely sure if now is the time to use it, and I'm glad I didn't looking back. And now I'm wasting away, which, once again, the same dungeon, I went from being normal to wasting, well, being normal to craving to wasting. I finally figured out what these hooded shrews take. I should have been, you know, more aware of it, that they're probably going to take a certain type of Kiro. Once again, if you haven't played it, I'm not going to say what they take, because I don't want to ruin it for you. If you've played the DLC before, you're probably laughing to yourself because you're waiting for that one boss room coming up. And yes, it's the Crocodilian. I'm just going to call it a crocodile for short right now. I'm just trying to get an idea of how to do this fight. I have a horrible party composition, and I'm actually going to show the whole entire fight. If you haven't played the Crimson Court DLC yet, I would kind of recommend stopping the video here so you don't see the ending cutscene and you also don't see how this fight can go. I think you should really experience the first time through and then come back and watch my opinion on it and my commentary if you want to. Honestly, with my first time in here, I had no idea what this crocodile was going to do. With seeing that AoE come out though, I was thinking, you know what, we gotta start doing the riposte. If he does a lot of AoE, I can at least get some free turns going. I'm gonna talk about the fight a little more than the narration. I like the idea, you know, they're trying to, I guess, get it like a crocodile, you know, like the lurking fear. They got the bush tails and the cat tails. Well, the bulrushes and the cat tails, you know, hiding in those, striking, can't destroy its environment. It's a really cool boss setup. It kind of functions like maybe like a mobile prophet in a way, so I kind of like that. It is also very reminiscent of the final boss in the Darkest Dungeon, where he has those, I don't know what to call them, like the weird void things you can't hit, and he moves throughout that. So it's very similar to those two bosses, but I like the environment more with this crocodile and the cattails and bulrushes. And also, you know, it just feels like a crocodile. It's like biting you. The stress damage one was kind of weird, but I like the biting, I like the lurking. Eventually he'll show off a couple other moves that are very, I would say, crocodile-like, which I like. I like this boss in here. I've liked the bosses I've fought so far in the Crimson Court DLC, even though they're extremely difficult. My personal thoughts on how to beat the crocodile, I do have some theories. And I have fought the crocodile multiple times after this video because he does show up in the Crimson Court a little more. Spoiler if you're still watching this, this is not the last time you will fight him. And by the way, just that's kind of cool, that submerge, I like that, you know, crocodile getting down low, increasing the dodge, being part of the environment. This fight, I am looking forward to every time I go in. It's difficult, but I'm beginning to figure out somewhat an easy way, I'll call it. Not surefire, but easier way to defeat him. I'm going to do a video on how to defeat the Crocodilian, or Crocodile. Fairly easy. I'm not going to say easy because this fight is usually not easy. I usually have at least a person go to the death's door because of some of the abilities the Crocodile has. But I will say though is I have not had as rough of an experience as this time. I legitimately thought this might be the one time I was going to get unintentionally party wiped. I've sent groups into like the Shrieker before, into Wolf before, knowing they're going to get party wiped. But this was the one time I was legitimately not looking to get party wiped. And I'm just surveying all my stuff and it's not going great. I finally hit with the leper. The leper was such a... It's not that a leper is a horrible pick, it's just it doesn't synergize with the party I have. It could and couldn't have. I really should have pulled the occultist more to bring the Crocodilian forward, and that's kind of part of the strategies I use later to defeat the crocodile, but that's for another video. So I'm just trying to keep everyone's health around 15 to 14, which is kind of difficult with him hitting so hard all the time. And we're coming up on the end here soon. This was a long fight because I really didn't A, have the damage for it, and B, I didn't know what to do the first time through. So that's the coolest move I think the crocodile does. It's called Apex Predator, and you know, he just kind of jumps out of the water and bites. It has a lot of damage. I know it's not cool for my HP pool, but I think it's a really cool ability they have. I just can't get enough over it saying how much I like this fight. I'm really liking the Crimson Court DLC. It's challenging, it's tough, adds stuff to regular dungeons, which I wasn't expecting. So that's rough. Crimson Court also has some cool Crimson Court related trinkets, so I'm looking forward to getting more of those. I'm going to skip the ending of this dungeon. We're going to go to the cutscene.
The maddening whine of multitudinous wings abates. Let us hope that is the end of things. In those younger years, my home was a hive of unbridled hedonism.
Oh, I love, once again, just the art style of this game. The deep red against the black and white. It's a really nice touch.
Were indulged with wild abandon.
As always, love the guy who narrates this game. It's just beautiful. A nice deep voice. Goes well with the atmosphere.
I could sense in her a mocking thirst. Driven half mad by
yes, a mocking thirst would be a good way to describe what she may be. I love the smug look they give on his face, like he's about to take care of the situation, and then if you've seen this cutscene before, you know how wrong that goes. Yeah, that got me really good the first time I saw it. I just kind of sat there afterwards like, yep, okay, this is going to be a great DLC. It's going to suck in ways that are entertaining, of course. Thank you for watching.